Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of TV is Our Real Mom. I'm Dave.
I'm Catie.
And first off, I would just like to apologize for us not putting up any videos for the last couple weeks. I'm a full-time student. I have a full-time job, and with finals and everything, things have gotten really busy, and I just haven't had any time to podcast. I know Catie was ready and willing, I'm sure, but I just wasn't able to do it. So I apologize for that. But we're back just in time to sort of recap the last couple episodes we missed. We're just going to do a quick breakdown of the main points of what happened in those couple episodes. And then what we'd like to do is sort of do a pre-finale breakdown of the remaining castaways and just kind of do a little analysis on what's going on with them and what
their chances. What are their chances?
Their chances in second chance. So
yeah.
All right, Catie. Let's start by just talking a little bit about what happened in the last couple episodes that we don't have any podcasting for.
Well, I think it's funny because at the beginning of the season, you and I were both, or at least I was a little more heavy on the Joe hate than you were, but we were both talking about how badly we wanted both Joe and Abby gone, and now they're gone. They both went home in a row, which is nice, but I feel a little bit robbed. I felt like there was no aha, you suck moment that you got with like Andrew Savage. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way?
Yeah, it was maybe a little unceremonious on both accounts. Like they just kind of went out of the game, and it was like it was nothing. And which is so weird after all season. You know, Joe's been this amazing threat, and everyone wanted him out, and it finally happened, and it was kind of like anticlimactic. Yeah. And the same with
felt robbed
Abby.
A little bit.
Yeah, same with Abby. She was a villain all season long, and then instead of like really getting her, like you said, gotcha. Mm-hmm. There was nothing like that. Kind of like, oh, well, that was unexpected, and she just left the game.
Well, you know what? I feel with Abby, it was really easy to hate her at the beginning, and you wanted, if she would have been voted out the first episode or second or third or fourth, which was all about Abby, you would have probably felt that. But something happened along the way with Abby where she became a little more of a entertaining little, I don't know, bratty kind of girl that I found a little bit more entertaining. Obviously, she was probably still a nightmare to be around, but on the show, she didn't bother me as much. Like, especially when she's mocking Andrew Savage, like, I can't not be down with someone who's doing that. So,
yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I don't know. I maybe softened on Abby a little bit. And the Joe thing, I think we were so used to blindsides. There have been so many this season, and he seemed to know it was coming. So I don't know. I feel like it lost its sting. If Steven would have been the one to do it, it might have been a little more powerful, but Steven was gone, and so it was kind of robbed of, any kind of satisfaction I might have gotten out of it. I'm still happy he's gone, don't get me wrong, but
I don't know. There's something about this season now that it's kind of losing its luster for me, and I don't know if it's really? just me or I don't know. It's losing steam, and I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. Is it like? Is it the fact that they're all? Because usually I like the survival part of it and how everyone gets worn out, but it really seems to be getting to the point where people are so worn out. It's like they can't even like play Survivor. It seems like it's that bad, honestly.
Well, Keith can't even remember who he's playing with. I mean, I don't think Keith is that stupid. I think they're that exhausted. I don't think he actually forgot Tasha's name. I think he's just weak and tired. And when they were doing the immunity challenge in the most recent episode where Abby put it out, like you could feel how exhausted they were. Like
like what happened to Tasha. I mean, she described it as like her mind was telling her legs to kick so she could stay above water and not drown, and like the legs weren't even listening anymore. Like that's how exhausted and under fed these guys are, and it's really starting to like show in a way that's like affecting the entertainment value of like, because in one way it can be sort of entertaining to watch people struggle, as sick as that sounds. I mean, it's human nature to like be entertained by that, like Gladiator, you know, people killing each other and whatever. But on some level, when they're losing their energy to the point where they can't even like play the game. And I was thinking about it, and I think this might be part of the reason I'm like feeling like the season's losing steam is because the people on the show, the people on the show are losing steam. But yeah,
Spencer, how skinny he is.
Who's that?
The boy is wasting away. Spencer, there's nothing to him.
Oh, Spencer, yeah. And I mean, he's like a sort of skinny build to begin with, but yeah, he is really showing it out there. The weight loss and whatnot.
Yeah, his shorts are falling off.
Yeah. And it happens every season, but it seems really noticeable right now. And I don't know. I think I feel like the finale has to be good. I mean, I have high hopes for the finale. It's just that these last couple episodes was such. I have really enjoyed the season up until the last couple episodes. All the episodes before that were tremendous. So I mean, I'm not knocking the season too much for a couple bad episodes towards the end, but I think the finale with 6 people still left, and most of them, well, what do you got? Like 4 that aren't really potential people. So I think it should be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like not when you're episode leading up to the finale. So I don't know if it's regarded as a bad episode. I know it wasn't the greatest. It was a blindside technically. I mean, Abby, but it still just felt weird. I agree with you. It just felt like there hasn't been the pizzazz that most episodes this season have had. So, but
and part of that is you can't. This isn't a show that's scripted, so it's not like you can write every episode to be like fireworks. Things are going to happen that are outside of your control, and it might not be that entertaining or that great on the jumping off the page, but that's what happened. That's the nature of these reality shows. So, but I do think the finale will be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, a couple of highlights of the last couple episodes. I mean, we had a couple medevac situations or potential medevac situations.
Neither of them turned into actual medevacs, which is good.
Yeah, Joey, amazing, pushed his body beyond the physical realm, and he left the physical world and entered the spirit world for a little while. His body collapsed.
See, even Joey Amazing is passing out. I mean, that just goes to show you how much they're hurting out there. So, he was after. I don't know if you watched the Ponderosa videos, but after he got voted out, he's crying again because he always cries when he gets voted out. Which I mean, I would too, but that's twice now that he's done it. But he was saying how, I thought maybe if I passed out and I thought maybe that would get their respect. And I'm like, no, dude, that is even more of a sign that they need to vote your ass out. You do not understand how this game works. He never has understood it.
He was playing wrong the whole time.
He was playing wrong from the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, he must have been one of those guys who like looked up to Ozzy and was like, those are the best survivors, Ozzy.
Let's just get this out there. I know, the hardcore Survivor fans are probably the only people who watch this, but Ozzy, while he was admirable in his outdoor skills, was not good at Survivor.
No, I like Ozzy a lot. I love the way he played, even though it's not the best strategy to win. He could have potentially won South Pacific if he wouldn't have lost that last challenge. He could have won.
Yes.
But
well, a lot of people could have won if they hadn't lost a challenge.
Yeah,
Keith could have won San Juan del Sur if he hadn't lost a challenge.
Yeah, Malcolm would have won if he would have lost his last challenge.
Spencer could have won.
It happens all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
So
although I don't think Spencer would have won.
I like Ozzy, but yeah, there's more to the game of Survivor. It's much more a social game because you win by people voting for you to get the million. So it's much more a social game than a physical game, and you should focus more on that aspect if you want to win Survivor. So there you go.
And I don't think he had a bad social game. I think he was just putting all his eggs in. Yeah, Joe.
Yeah, no, Joe
is
excellent socially. I think he's great. Yeah. He's too big of a threat.
But he didn't think at the beginning of the season to downplay that. He was just like, he even said in Ponderosa as well, he's like, I can't not do my best. And I'm like, well, then this isn't really the game for you. So go on.
It's the outwit part of it is super important. You have to.
Yeah, Joe doesn't have the wit.
Yeah, you have to realize that you're being perceived this way from day one and do something to change that. I mean, Tyson is the perfect example. I don't know how much of his injury was faked, like how real it was. I'm sure it was real to some extent, but I guarantee he played it up. And that's like a genius move. If you know you're a physical threat, you do whatever you can to make yourself seem weaker so that you're not a threat. It's
like
just
Jeremy. I don't know. Okay, I don't know if Jeremy is losing all of these challenges on purpose or if he just really sucks. But because of his lack of challenge wins, whatever the reason, he's not perceived on the same level as Joe. And now Spencer and Keith are kind of up there too. Now that Joe's gone, people are like, uh-oh. Well, they're not looking at Spencer with uh-oh yet, but they should be.
Exactly.
They're looking at Keith that way.
I mean, yeah, who knows whether Jeremy is doing it on purpose or not. I mean, there's no way we can really know that. The only person that knows that is Jeremy. But if he is doing that, he's a genius. I mean, that's what you got to do. He's relying more on the social game and less on.
Yeah, his social game is clearly on point because people aren't even bringing up his name.
Yeah, I don't think he's been voted for once.
No.
Which is awesome.
No?
Unbelievable. So
you're right about that.
Yeah. So the other medevac to get back on track, because I got us way sidetracked there.
Happens.
Was Tasha almost drowned? We may have already talked about it.
Yeah, we touched on it. She was fine.
So yeah, she's fine. That happened, and then the loved ones. That was kind of interesting as usual. What was some key stuff in the loved ones visit?
Val telling Jeremy that he was going to have a boy. So that was really sweet that she found that out and was able to tell him. And Dale, seeing Dale again.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
That was cool. And seeing Big D again.
Big D. Yeah. I can't believe he calls his wife Big D, but it's, obviously it's their term of endearment. So if she had any problems with it at first, she's clearly fine with it now. So
yeah,
it's hilarious.
And it was also cool to see Spencer's girlfriend because they set up that story arc of I never told my girlfriend I love you. It's been really hard. I've never ever told anyone I loved them before. I sound like Tony.
I'm kind of over the heavy-handed Spencer edit. To be honest with you, I feel like other characters are getting short shrift because of it, and I don't think it's fair. He must win or something, at least for the end, because otherwise I can't understand this.
There could be a bit of
find a word for it.
There could be fan service as well because they know that the casuals love Spencer.
Right.
Like he's like a huge fan favorite, like the Malcolms and Ozzies and Joes and stuff. Spencer's one of those, so maybe he doesn't win, but they need to give him some kind of, story, camera time, because that's what the fans want to see. So you're
right. I mean, I guess Steven had a story, Varner had a story, and they didn't make it to the end. But it's very, very melodramatic and kind of heavy-handed. But this is CBS we're talking about. I got to remember that this is CBS. So yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for what happened. Abby Marie went home, Joe went home, and I think now we should just get into our sort of breakdown of the final 6 and just kind of talk about their chances in the finale here. And also we're going to talk a little bit about what we think is going to happen in the finale, because there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on. So so why don't you get us rolling, Catie? What are we going to do? Where are we going to start with?
Well, before we get into the individual people, I thought maybe why are there 6 people left going into the finale? Like, how do you think that's going to shake out? There's just going to be a ton of tribal councils and no rewards or anything? Is that all it is?
Is there supposed to be 5, right?
Yeah. Usually there's 5 left if it's a final 3 and 4 left if it's a final 2.
And they get rid of 2 in the episode, and then 3 go to the final tribal council.
Yes. The only time there has been 6 people left going into finale time is when there's 5 players and then like another person on redemption or something.
Oh, okay.
But now we have 6 people just out there playing the game, and we've got still a 2-hour finale and a 1-hour reunion. So I'm thinking usually they have something like a reward with an advantage or something. I'm thinking they're just going to just do normal immunities and tribal councils. Can they squeeze all that in there?
So just bam, 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 4 tribal councils in 2 hours.
That is approximately 1 tribal council a half an hour. And those tribal councils themselves take like 10 minutes. So you're going to have not a lot of strategy talk.
Yeah, I'd say the first thing to ask is that might help us come to a conclusion is, what do you think Jeff is referring to when he says this has never happened in 30 seasons of Survivor? Like
31.
31.
Right.
Well, it happened in that season. It's wrong. That's incorrect.
Yeah, but okay, whatever.
It hasn't happened in 30 seasons, but it happened in the 31st.
I thought he said 31. Okay, whatever.
He says
fine.
that, but he's incorrect. That's all.
Well, he's incorrect a lot. He could even be incorrect about that fact. I think my theory is that both Jeremy and Kelly will play their idols on the same night, because someone will play it first, and then like Kelly will play hers first, and Jeremy will be like, "Oh shit,
They're
I
all
gotta play
coming
mine."
back on me. Yeah.
Yeah, because all it takes is 1 or 2 votes, and I'm gone. So he'll play
that could work both ways too. If either one of them plays it, the other one will,
because at Final 5, that's your last chance to play it. So you better play it anyway.
Yeah,
you know
they're on opposite sides too. If they had the vote split, one side would be going for Jeremy, the other would be going for Wentworth.
Yep. So I think it's very likely that both idols are going to be played on the same night. And if it turns out that everyone voted for the people who have the idols, you're going to have a 0-0 vote. And then some random person is just going to be the target. It's either going to be, it's probably going to be
it's going to be the biggest threat in the game. If they're smart, they would go for a Spencer or a Tasha at that point.
Yeah, but Spencer has Jeremy and Tasha on his side as of now. So it's probably going to be someone like Kimmy or Keith that gets screwed in that scenario. I don't know.
Why? Because if those 2 are in the game, they would vote together, and the other person is the odd one out. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think Kelly and Keith are together, and I think Kimmy might explore her options.
Because Jeremy and Wentworth won't be able to vote again. So if it does happen at 5, that only leaves 3 people voting. So if those
wait a minute though. If they do a revote, Kelly and Jeremy can still vote. You just can't vote for them.
Oh, maybe you're right. I was going to say...
You're thinking of the rock thing.
Oh, well, my theory is that they can't vote, but you're probably right. They probably can vote. So maybe
I think they can vote.
Okay. If they can vote, then I don't know what happens.
Yeah.
I suppose you're right. I suppose it would be a Keith or a Kimmy, which is unfortunate.
Well, who knows, though, because we got voting blocks. I don't know if we still have them, but allegiances change from week to week or from tribal council to tribal council. So who knows where Spencer will be at that point. If he really legitimately wants to go to the end with Tasha and Jeremy, he's a fool. So I don't think he is a fool, and I think he's probably got a backup plan in mind. So
yeah, true.
He seems to want Tasha out, so I can see him getting rid of Tasha.
Yeah, I see. To me, I see one of those people going down, like one of the threats going down. It would just make sense. I feel like Kimmy and Keith would even look at each other at that point and be like, "Well, who do we want to vote?" They'd be like, they'd like point at Spencer probably. If it was me, that's what I would do.
Yeah,
I'd be
that's
like,
the
that
thing
guy.
is that is there going to be open discussion? Because
No,
I mean,
there won't be open discussion, but you could still point at that person, nod your head, and stuff like that. I mean, everybody will be looking at each other, but still, like, you could still do stuff like that and just go balls out. And yeah.
Yeah, but not one person is going to see this coming because Kelly and Jeremy have not told a soul about their idols. And so when they find out that neither of them can go home, then it's just going to be
it's going to be
cluster.
Awesome. It's going to be awesome.
It has potential to be a pretty high-level tribal council, but if that's what happens, who knows?
So if that's what happens, that's the thing that's never happened before, which means, I don't know, I suspect maybe a medevac even.
Oh, shit, I hope not at this point. That would suck.
Yeah, well, it's happened before. I mean, Eric Reichenbach or something, I can't remember his last name, from
Reichenbach?
Karamoan. I think that's that's the one. His body basically shut down on him in the final 4 or 5, something like that. Pretty deep into the game. I think it was the finale. And so it's happened before.
It could happen.
Yeah. Catie, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. We got your voice. We lost your video, but I can hear you.
Okay.
So,
shall we go down the list?
Let's go down the list.
Okay. Well, let's just start with Spencer. He's the first one I thought of, so.
Okay. Spencer.
What are your thoughts on Spencer's chances? What's he got to do to win this thing?
Sit next to less likable people like Kimmy and Keith. I think that's his best shot. People seem to respect him as a strategic player. They all think he's a genius. He probably is a genius from what I've heard. And people respect that, and they respect his love of the game. He is Mr. Survivor in the hardcore fans of the Survivor universe. I think that's, what is that, Rob Has a Podcast, like, gave him that title or something.
Yeah, there's like a contest that they do.
Yeah, so I think people respect and admire Spencer from a game standpoint, but there's other people in this game that can beat him, I think.
Right.
I was a Spencer fan going into the season, and I didn't really like his edit in this season as much. And I don't think that's a bad edit. I think I just don't like the kind of player I just don't really like him as a character this season as much, which surprises me. It hurts to say, but that's how I feel about it.
I was pretty high on Spencer, but I assumed he would get voted out early, which they probably should have done looking at it now.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with you completely. Like, I really liked Spencer. Maybe it's because he was the perpetual underdog in his first season, but he has had his fair share of struggles in this season too. And I don't know if it's just, I consider him to be just like I mean, he has no real allegiances, which is fine because this is being labeled as the season of voting blocks, which basically means you don't need to have allegiances. Right. But it's really been hard for me to get a handle on what kind of game he's actually playing, because 1 minute it seems, he's all about loyalty to Jeremy, but the next minute he's getting rid of Stephen Fishback, and I don't understand why he wanted to get rid of Stephen so bad. Looking back on it, like, I don't understand the logic in getting rid of Stephen. Obviously, he was competition.
I think it makes sense, yeah, because I feel like I believe that Stephen was sort of Spencer's Joe, sorry, did I say that? Stephen had Joe, and Spencer had Stephen. It was the guy that they saw that they wanted to, that they thought was like a threat to them and their style of game, and that they could point at and say, that was my threat and I got him out. And I think for Spencer, that makes sense to me. I don't know, but it could be wrong. I feel like the only way I wouldn't think that is because I'm being butthurt about Steven getting voted out. You know.
Well, we're all a little butthurt about that, but
Yeah.
I feel like if he was going to do that, why did he not then just stick with the people he voted with? Why did he go running back to Jeremy and Tasha?
Yeah,
Like,
that's a
why?
good point.
He was better off with those people. Maybe it was that he was that concerned about Joe, which I guess what makes sense. You know, Joe could have possibly kept winning. He might have just been sick, you know, and that's what happened. And it was just a weak spot in his challenge performances, and he was going to pick back up again.
Yeah.
But it's just he's very have had trouble following his decisions. But
yeah,
maybe
I
there's
agree.
a lot.
It would be cool. It'll be interesting to hear how he explains his thought process, like after the game's over, because I think getting in his headspace as far as why he's doing what he's doing would be interesting.
Yeah,
Another
I'm sure
thing
there's good reasons.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Spencer is if it'd be fun to go back and listen to our pre-season breakdown of all the contestants.
Right.
And I think Spencer is like the only one out of the 6 that we sort of didn't agree on would probably make it this far. I think Spencer, we both agreed would go out super early because he was such a big threat. But the other 5, I think we sort of with all of them were like, yeah, they're probably going far. And we were right for the most part, we were right. So that's kind of cool.
Let's pat ourselves on the back. And they were stupid to let Spencer get this far. And it obviously bit a few of them in the butt, but whatever. So do you think, well, we can talk about this when we talk about her, but who of the other 5 can Spencer beat? Can he beat Jeremy?
I don't think anybody can beat. I think Jeremy's the top. Jeremy's the front runner in my mind, but he can't beat Jeremy. I think Wentworth has an argument against him. The tough thing for me, like, and this is just me, I have a tough time thinking about the jury, and like, because I feel like I literally have to write down the names of the jury and go down the line. Like, I'm not good at just like making quick, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like saying, oh, these guys, the jury as a whole would vote for this person over this person. I would have to like break it down. Maybe you're better at that. How do you think the jury votes with Spencer against like Wentworth?
Wentworth has some buddies on the jury, I think. She's got 3 witches. Well, 2 witches and Cass. I mean, Cass is probably an honorary witch.
Cass would have been a witch if she would have stayed. One more vote.
So I guess that's only 3, and we're talking a 10-person jury, and it depends on who goes out. But the thing I like is that Kelly, while she has, always been on the bottom since the merge, it seems like, I feel like she hasn't really pissed anyone off, with maybe the exception of Andrew Savage. Perhaps Joe. I don't know. Maybe Joe wouldn't vote for her because whatever. So I don't think she's, other than that though, I don't think she's really made enemies. I think she's, and we haven't heard her talk a lot at Tribal Council, but I feel like she's so good in confessionals that she would give a pretty good final speech.
Yeah. So what about Spencer? Because that's who we're kind of looking at here.
Oh, like, yeah, sorry.
Does the jury like Spencer overall? Does the jury like Spencer?
I have a hard time knowing what they think of Spencer. I think he did try to make bonds with people, but the people he bonded with seemed to still be there, like Jeremy and Tasha. Steven he was friends with, but he kind of cut him. Although I think Steven, once he's out of the game, he's looking at it purely from a game.
Steven respects.
Yeah.
And he's probably got an ego on him too, so he'll be like, yeah, he got me out, so he deserves to win, you know?
Yeah, like, yeah, that could be it.
That's how I think Steven would think, honestly.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm sure he has a few people there that aren't fond of him, like Abby, I don't think is, well, if she's fond of anyone. So he might have a couple people there that aren't so keen on him. But I don't think he's so good at speaking I mean, at least with his words, maybe not his inflection, but he's good with his words, so he might be able to form a pretty good argument. Remember his final speech in Cagayan where he was like, "You guys are idiots. Vote for Tony," but he said it much more eloquently.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
He's good with his words. So
yeah, for sure. So Spencer has a decent shot. I know it's hard to say because we don't know who there's 3 jury members missing that we don't know who they're going to be. So
yeah, I think he's got to. Well, if he ditches Jeremy and Tasha, then that's 2 jury votes he probably doesn't get. So that's risky.
mm-hmm.
But I think he does have a better shot at the end against
Wentworth
Kimmy and Keith, or maybe even Wentworth. I think Wentworth beats him, but I still think he has a better shot against her.
So Spencer's chances of winning are not great, I feel like.
I don't think they're that great.
But he does, in my mind, he wins hands down if he's next to Keith and Kimmy.
Oh, no question. I don't know how that would happen, but
other than that, it's going to be tough for him to win, I feel like.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, the jury might respect the fact that he has sort of survived from one vote to the next, never really having a solid alliance like you talked about. It's it's an interesting and respectable way to stay alive in the game.
Yeah.
And it's a tough feat to accomplish. So I think the jury looks at that might, if he gets to the end, he might be able to use that.
He has a case to make, and I think the jury would be open to hearing it. So,
absolutely. So I just changed my mind. I think Spencer's chances are decent, but not. It depends on who he sits next to.
Okay. All right.
Who else?
Shall we do Keith?
Yeah, let's do Keith. Keith. I think Keith could have won if Abby Maria was still in the game. But now one of the other threats it's guaranteed that it's him, Kimmy, and one other bigger threat. So that's the person that wins. Keith cannot.
So you're saying if Keith went to the end with Kimmy and Abby, he could have won.
He could have won. I was more on the side of with Tyson. Tyson on Rob Has Podcast said Keith beats those 2. Rob said Kimmy wins. I was more on the side that Keith would beat those 2. So, but yeah, now that Abby's gone, I don't think he doesn't stand a chance. There's no way. There's no scenario.
I think Kimmy would have a shot against Keith, but I've just, because of the edit she's gotten, I just don't think that's what's going to happen. But I think she would have a decent shot against him. But that scenario is no longer an option. So Keith, I don't see any way in which Keith wins this game.
Do the producers know what the final votes are before they read them at the live finale?
Yeah, they have to, because what if it's a tie?
Oh yeah, so they can edit the show around knowing who actually wins too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. I think that would be cool if they could keep themselves in the dark about the actual winner. That'd be cool too. That's
fantasy.
Yeah, that would never happen. Fan fiction,
not reality.
Survivor fan fiction.
That's just a fantastical world that we don't live in.
It's naive, yeah. But that'd be cool.
It would be cool, but you have to be able to craft and edit. You need to know who wins.
But see, I feel like they need to avoid that in some capacity to avoid making it predictable based on the edit. You don't want people to be able to call out what's going to happen because of the edit. And the best way to do that is to not know what happens.
Well, I feel like they have to know. They know.
Okay. Just saying. I just thought I'd speak my piece on that.
No, it would be nice, but it's not real.
Okay. Keith, just maybe touch a little bit on like what he's brought to the season. And
not as much as his last season. But that's just because I feel that's just a case of so much strategy. He was on a season with a lot of morons. I mean, Missy and Jacqueline made it to the finals in that season. That season had potentially good players, but it just did not play out well.
Yeah, why does Josh Wigler,
but still,
why does Round Howard love that season so much? San Juan del Sur.
I could not tell you.
To me, that's one of the worst seasons. It's like towards the bottom of the list for me, honestly.
Like,
but,
I had trouble continuing to watch that season,
yeah.
just because
It
the
ends
lack
well.
of
It ends
it
well.
does end well.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, even the worst seasons, like Nicaragua and Gabon, and although a lot of people apparently don't like Bob that he won, but I mean, it's nice to see a nice person win.
Yeah,
if you
it's
can't
just,
have a really good player win.
Yeah, it's just like, to me, it's awesome when a nice guy wins on a different kind of strategy, because it just goes to show that the game is flexible and it's about adaptation, and anybody can win based on any strategy if it's played in the right context, and that's what makes the show worth watching and the game worth playing. So
yeah, do you really want to watch it if every year, like, the most intense strategist always becomes the winner? I mean, it's nice to see them win, but it's also nice to see other kinds of players win sometimes.
Yeah, it's cool to see those deserving, hardworking winners, but you have to have that sense that anybody can win at any time in any season, or else it's not fun to watch. So
yeah.
Anyways, though, yeah, San Juan del Sur. 3 people left, right? Still 3 people left in the final 6 from that season.
50% of our finalists for this all-star crazy season are from San Juan del Sur. So,
and that's one of my least favorite seasons. So maybe that's why I'm starting to lose interest in this season.
But to be fair, Wentworth we never got to see much of. We always, or I didn't even know she had this player inside of her. So it's nice to see that. Jeremy was someone who got cut down too soon. I thought he was one of the people who recognized how dumb everyone was on that season. So I always admired him for that. And then Keith was clueless about what was going on, but good entertainment. So they got a good mix. They got the best of that season to come back.
Yeah,
but
and I
don't feel like that redeems that season in any way, in my opinion.
Not at all. But yeah, Keith's been pretty cool this season. He's been good for what he's done his part. I mean, he does what Keith does. So so it's all good.
I just don't think it's going to be enough to convince a jury of savvy players that he deserves to win. So I don't think he can win.
I agree. So yeah, moving on to the next person.
All right. What about Tasha?
Tasha is definitely a threat to win. As with the other players, it depends on who she sits next to. If she sits next to Keith and Kimmy, she wins hands down. Just like we don't necessarily have to say that every time. It's true for pretty much everyone. Yeah. What are your thoughts on Tasha?
I would feel really good about Tasha if she was willing to go to the end with someone like Kimmy and Keith.
Yeah.
But she sucked into this going to the end with Spencer and Jeremy, and I can't believe she thinks that's a good idea. I mean, she's not going to win against either of them, I don't think. And I don't know, you know, she had her glory days over on Angkor. Like, she ran that tribe, and it was a cool thing to see, and I was super impressed with her.
Yeah, definitely.
Play. And I was super her ability to weaponize Abby Maria, but I don't think she's just kind of faded into the background a little bit since then, and she's been completely Team Jeremy. So it doesn't make sense for me. I feel like when they had the all-women's proposed alliance, if she wanted to win, that was her path, but she didn't take it. So I don't know what her plan is now. I mean, I think I know what her plan is, but it's stupid.
Yes, it is stupid. I'd say she has a shot in a few different scenarios, but there's a good chance she's going to be in a final 3 with Spencer or Jeremy or Wentworth, all 3 of which could easily trump her. So that she is a compelling winner too, though, just because she's so likable, strong woman, strong competitor. Obviously very good at Survivor to make it this far in both seasons. So she could win, but I think those other 3 are more interesting winners. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. She has some friends on the jury, though, let me tell you. Have you been watching Ponderosa videos?
No, I haven't watched any Ponderosa videos. I'm really bad about kind of the
They're
extra stuff.
entertaining as hell. They're really
Yeah.
good. But when Abby got voted out, she and Cass kind of talked, or Abby badmouthed Tasha, and Cass was like, Abby, don't say anything bad about Tasha because Savage will get mad. And Savage goes off about how Cass always brings it up. And meanwhile, Savage, since Tribal Council, has unbuttoned his shirt and his just flowing, his abs and his chest is just out, and he's still wearing his stupid beanie. He's like, Cass, why do you have to bring this up 15 times a day? And he's such a little bitch. But anyway, he loves Tasha, and I think he could vote for Tasha if she goes to the end.
Oh yeah, she's got his vote, I'm pretty sure. I mean, what they went through on this is what Survivor is really about, is these bonds that are formed in intense situations, and that's what they have going on with what happened in Angkor. It seemed like it was living hell over there, and they went through it together, and they got through it. They came in there at a numbers disadvantage and went from the bottom to the top together. So obviously they have a bond. She obviously gets Andrew Savage's vote.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know who else's vote she would get, especially if she's against Jeremy or Spencer.
Yeah, well, she doesn't get Cass's vote, and Abby votes. And Abby votes with Cass, and Sierra's probably gonna lean towards voting with Abby and Cass because they just
Sierra's got her own. Sierra's got her own mind.
Yeah, I agree, but I think that they will talk about who they're going to vote for.
Oh, they've got nothing else to do.
Yeah, they'll talk about who they're going to vote for and try to vote together. But you're right, Sierra is more of an independent thinker. I think she won't necessarily do what they do. So yeah. Next person.
Kimmy
Kappenberg. She could win. No, I think she's.
Could she?
No, she's in a similar boat she's in the same boat Keith was in, where her only shot was with Keith and Abby at the end. In which case, she, rather than Keith beating her, she beats Keith. That's pretty much it. Anybody else? The other three that could be in there with them, she can't beat any of them. So she doesn't stand a chance.
There was a secret scene in which Kimmy discussed that she wanted to go with Keith and Kelly Wentworth, and they wanted to pull Abby and get out Spencer. She wanted to get Spencer out.
That was the way to go. She had the right idea. But I mean,
Abby was not going to vote with them. Abby clearly she voted for Keith. She thought they were getting out Keith. She thought she was with Jeremy and Tasha and Spencer, but they told her that they were voting out Keith when they were actually voting her out.
That's what I suspected. I suspected that based on seeing that Abby voted for Keith and kind of like, why did she do that? And if you think about it, it's like, oh, she thought she was with these guys and they told her this. So, yeah.
So, yeah, Abby was the hinge on which that plan relied on, and Kimmy knew it wasn't going to happen, so she voted out Abby. And now I think her path has become a lot more difficult. So,
indeed,
I don't see her getting any votes, to be honest with you. I mean, unless she is against Keith.
For funsies, let's manufacture a scenario in which she wins.
Okay, she's got to be against Keith and
Spencer or Tasha.
No. Tasha
isn't, like you were saying.
Keith and Tasha.
Tasha has enough
got
enemies already. Yeah. And Spencer maybe hates Tasha so much after he gets voted out, if that happens.
And I think that Kimmy's got a lot of buddies on the jury. I mean, even Abby was holding her hand when Tasha was, having her dilemma. Yeah. So I feel like Kimmy could get some votes away from Tasha. And you have, like I said before, a jury of savvy players who would see the maybe under the radar behind the scenes game Kimmy played and know that Keith really didn't do anything. Yeah. So she could win against those two, I think.
Yeah, it's possible.
Maybe.
And it's like Rob was saying too. Sometimes the mom, the sympathy card, and I think she has a child with disabilities as well.
Yeah.
That you don't necessarily want that argument to work as a fan of the game, but it does. It can, because I mean, this is $1 million in real life that's going to somebody in real life. So
it would work on the tender hearts of the jury. Like it would work on Savage.
It would work on
Savage. It would work on Sierra. She's got kids. Cass has kids. Jeremy has kids. It would probably work on a lot of people, but it's like the Jeremy thing with, you don't want that to be a selling point in your jury speech, you know?
You don't, but it could work. I mean, it has the potential to work for people, so why not use it? So
okay, I feel like it could backfire.
Yeah, it could though. I mean, we've seen that. Was that San Juan del Sur where somebody brought? I think it was John. Started.
Oh yeah,
John and Jacqueline started bringing up their, bringing up their dead grandpa.
His dad was dying and she didn't have a uterus. Give us $1 million.
Yeah, they tried. They were like blatantly the worst I've ever seen it on the show, using that in a strategic way that was sickening. Yeah, and it's been done. It's been done before, but it seemed to be like the worst it's ever been.
But here's my thought on that, is that at the end of that season, like there was so little story, like it was such a bad season that they had to focus on like John and Jacqueline having arguments, and then, you know, there was nothing else for them to focus on. I mean, Natalie was a badass, but she, you know, her badass moments were quick and dirty.
Quick and dirty.
Yeah, but these two were just, they were the worst.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. I mean, sometimes the sympathy card can backfire because it's so disgusting that you're using it in a strategic way in a game. Yeah. So, but at the same time, if these people already know that about her without her having to say it, that could help her. So
I think they do know her situation, yes, with her children.
Yeah, but yeah, Jeremy will have to, because he hasn't talked about it in the course of the game. He's faced with an interesting situation there where he'll have to bring it up if he wants to use it.
I wouldn't I hope he doesn't, because I would almost lose respect for him if he
I think it's part of his plan, honestly.
That would rub me completely the wrong way. I love Jeremy, and it's such a cool thing that he's kept it to himself. I feel like if you deserve to win, you deserve to win based on your game, not the fact that your wife's pregnant at home. I mean, that's got nothing to do with this game that's going on right now. Nothing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so Kimmy stands a chance in basically one or two scenarios. She could maybe beat Spencer too, just because Spencer's a game bot, and people might just not be into his game bot.
Yeah, but this is an all-star season. People aren't going to vote based on emotion other than Andrew Savage and Abby.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's just go ahead and move on to the next person then.
Well, we already started talking about Jeremy, so let's talk about Jeremy.
Yeah, good call. To me, these last two are the front runners. And to me, they both have an equal shot at the thing. And I would say if I have to pick one or the other to be in first place, it would be Jeremy, just because he's played so smooth all season long. And
he has been smooth.
Found two idols, and just formed strong relationships with everybody. And he seems so likable that, you know, everybody likes him enough to give him the $1 million. So.
Oh, I think he's a complete shoo-in if he makes it to the end.
Yeah.
Like, he has such a good social game. It's something that's not really highlighted on the show, but like that little snippet in the last episode where even the opposition, where he's talking with Keith and Kelly, like, can you believe 3 Hunapus have made it to the final 7? And he's just like all friendly with them. I feel like everybody, I can't think of one person on that jury who has an issue with Jeremy. Can you?
No, not really. I mean, even Steven. Well, Steven shouldn't. Never mind.
Steven would definitely.
Jeremy sacrificed his idol to get him one more week in the game, so I think Steven likes it. I think Steven likes him. Yeah. No, I think he's played an excellent social game. I always think back to that vote when Savage and Joe wanted to get Steven out, and Jeremy was able to subtly be like, no, I want Steven here. Let's vote for this person. And I don't remember.
Savage was just like, okay.
And all of them are just like,
yeah,
okay, we'll get him next time then. And it's just like, oh, okay. They all just listen to this subtle leadership quality he has. Guys like him, I mean, I envy guys like that. I think everybody envies people like that who have this natural ability to just like, people just want to follow their lead. That's a leader, you know? They're just like, this is the guy, you know? And
it's not someone who beats their chest and says, wow, I'm the leader, I'm such an awesome person, or who has honor tattooed on their chest. That's a Brad Culpepper reference. But people want to follow someone who's just quietly dignified and respectable. And I think that's what Jeremy is. And his gameplay, I mean, I do question his use of the idol on Steven, just because, you know, I mean, if you lose Steven, you can find somebody else at that point. There were a few people left. But other than that, I feel like he really hasn't faltered that much in this game at all. He's not been a challenge beast, but that has let him fly under the radar while other guys get the attention, like Spencer and Joe.
And like we said, there's no way to really know if Jeremy really is bad at challenges, or if he's, because it's there, you can't even believe him one way or the other if he tells you, oh, I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Because that's something somebody would say even if they didn't do it on purpose. Of course they'd be like, no, I did it on purpose. So the only person in this world who knows if he was good at challenges or not is Jeremy.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who ever will know. But yeah, so either way, however it works, it's a great strategy for Jeremy. It makes his game even stronger. So here's
my question though. I have a question. It's not game related really, but Jeremy's wife has not yet given birth, and I think she's due to give birth like around next week. So unless he's in the finals, you know, he probably won't be there.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, if he's in the running for the million, I think you have
to be there.
Yeah, you gotta tell your wife, like, hey,
I'm sorry.
Like, we have the rest of our lives to raise this child. I need to be there to win the $1 million on Survivor on CBS with millions of people watching. I think you have to be there for that.
Such a tough call, though.
It is, because it's like, because that's one of those things that, you know, like a Facebook meme would say, some moments aren't worth $1 million. And CBS, you know, like, it's one of those things where you're like, man, this is the thing that's more important in life, really. But at the same time, it's like one of those things that's like, my family should understand. My family should want me to be at this finale, you know? My wife. Yeah.
So
who knows though? I don't know what you do.
It could be another first where the winner of the season is not there.
Yeah, that would be whack.
That would be crazy.
I hope. Wild.
I mean, I hope like his wife has their baby like today or tomorrow, so that there's no I can go. Although that would suck to leave her alone, but I'm sure they have a plan.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. But yeah, who knows? He might not even make it. His chances of making it at this point are actually kind of in jeopardy, because you do have to play that idol at 5, and you also don't know Jeremy. For all we know, Jeremy sucks at challenges.
Yeah.
So on the final immunity, he's probably going to lose.
Oh shit! You're right.
If he loses that final immunity, he probably can't go. I mean, he's the obvious vote out. So.
Yeah, but that's why he's got those. Unless Spencer or Tasha goes at 6,
which they could.
Yeah.
Or 5.
They could.
Or 5 easily. I mean, with that double idol play. If that happens, if that double idol play happens.
Because if, let's say Keith gets picked off at 6, I mean, he could win immunity, but let's just say that Keith goes home next. So you're left with that buy on 4 with Kimmy, Tasha, Jeremy. Well, buy on 3, Kimmy, Tasha, Jeremy. Then you have Spencer and Kelly. and then they both play their idol. So Kelly and Jeremy are not eligible to go home. So it's either Kimmy, Tasha, or Spencer. I mean, they've got to pick each other off. So one of those three has to go home, and they're all with Jeremy. So I don't know.
So that means Jeremy goes to the end then?
No, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
There's with 6 people left. Sorry, I confused myself more talking. With 6 people left before the finale, it is really hard to see how this is going to play out, especially when Probst is saying stuff on Twitter or on Entertainment Weekly like, this is the most unpredictable, insane finale. Like, it's there's no way. I mean, there's no way for us to know what's going to happen. So.
Yeah, but I think Jeremy's got a tough road to make it to the end. He definitely wins if he gets there, but it's going to be really tough for him to get through that vote at 4 left.
5. Yeah, 4.
4.
I think the idol thing will happen at 5.
Yeah, it probably will. And then if it does, you got he makes it to 4, and that's the vote that's going to be tough for him to get through.
Yeah, but let's say
I can't see him getting through it, honestly, to be honest. So I don't think he's going to make it.
Okay, so enjoy the birth of your child, Jeremy.
Yeah,
You're not going to win.
You don't have to be there. Don't worry about it. Let's see. So that leaves our final person to talk about, and that's Kelly Wentworth.
Mm-hmm.
And she just makes sense as a winner this season. I think she's obviously got a great story to tell at the end. Hopefully she can do it eloquently and not annoy people, because she does have a tendency to annoy people, I think. Like Malcolm mentioned that when he was on that other podcast.
Yeah, but Malcolm is kind of a...
Yeah, but he represents a certain type of viewer. That's I sort of get where he's coming from with it, because I kind of I borderline feel that way about her, but at the same time I just respect her ability to play the game and do the TV show and do the interviews the way she does. I respect it so much that it doesn't bother me really.
Okay, here's my thing. I get annoyed by her initially. It's like a knee-jerk thing. Oh, why is she making that face? But then I jump into my head and think about being at a tribal council with Andrew Savage spouting the bullshit that he's spouting, and my eyes would be rolling just as much. I would be making just as ridiculous of expressions as she is. So I appreciate her snark. It's something I would have trouble covering up out there as well.
And to me, the sort of annoying quality she has is just her over the top, turning it on for the camera kind of stuff. But I understand it's a TV show and she makes a great character. It's way more entertaining to watch those confessionals than Kelly Wigglesworth. You know what I mean? So Wigglesworth, Wentworth. I mean, I'll take Wentworth any day. She's borderline annoying, but I'll definitely take Wentworth over something like that.
Well, Stephen Fishback in his blog, he wrote that Kelly Wentworth has a really good method during tribal council for managing the jury, just in her acknowledgments of their presence there at tribal council and her facial interactions with the people sitting over there. So I feel like at least the jury, or at least Stephen, appreciates what she's doing.
That's a whole another layer of the game that probably most people have never even thought about or tried to do, is communicate with the jury with just your facial expressions and your body language, and manage it, which is awesome. I mean, Stephen, great call by him that's what she's doing. Maybe she doesn't even know she's doing it, but either way, it's brilliant.
It'll be, I really respect her game, and I would be so okay with her winning the game.
Yeah, she's a very satisfying winner.
Jeremy. Both her and Jeremy would be satisfying winners. I mean, anyone else, Spencer would be fine.
Tasha would be fine.
Tasha would be fine. Keith and Kimmy, no. But
not as much.
Got 3 tiers. You've got 3 tiers here. You've got Jeremy and Kelly. You've got Spencer and Tasha, and you've got Keith and Kimmy. So.
I totally agree. And what's interesting about that is Spencer and Tasha are from the same season, and Jeremy and Kelly are from the same season.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? You've got completely Cagayan, San Juan del Sur, and then one random Australian outback person in there. It is so weird.
Yeah, and it's just interesting that they fit into the same tier as far as chance of winning and how they win, and it's fascinating that it worked out that way. It really is.
it just goes to show you that San Juan del Sur had potential, but they voted out all the good ones really early, which is probably fine. I mean, a deserving person won, and if you're smart, you would get rid of the good players, which is what they did. But
well, Keith made final four.
Keith did, but he didn't. Should he have?
Yeah, probably not. I mean, I don't know.
But good for him that he did.
Maybe he should have, because I mean, he's proven in both these seasons that he has the likability to hang around and not get voted out.
Yeah, and the strength. He's a strong old dude.
He's strong at challenges, and he proves that. I mean, he gives, because the biggest reason you look at Keith in the cast and you're like, oh, he could get voted out early, is you'd be like, he's an old man. And he shows you how he's not like an old man. He's like, look, I'm likable. I get along with everybody, and I am strong. So keep me around to help out. So
the problem with Keith
he's a good survivor.
Though, is that he is eloquent. He's not gonna well. I mean, God bless him, but I don't think if he's up against someone like Spencer and Wentworth who can speak, circles around him, I think he's in a lot of trouble. Yeah,
I don't think he stands a chance, but no, he's kind of like Joe. He's got a one-dimensional survivor game.
Yeah.
You can't win that way. You got to kind of have it all.
No, Joe, you can't win that way. 2 times now it hasn't worked out, so maybe if you come back, you're going to want to try something different.
I'm totally with Rob's strategy of gain a bunch of weight. Gain a bunch of weight and just don't try. Don't try.
Are you kidding me? Joe is so narcissistic and obsessed with himself. He would never do that, even if it meant that he could win $1 million. Never. Mark my words.
Yeah, isn't it funny? It's funny because before the season started, we were actually in the Joe Love camp. Like if you go back to if you go back to our preseason thing, we were still thinking of the Joe from Worlds Apart, and we were fans of that Joe because he was that all-purpose great survivor player. And so we were in that boat, and our other sister Catie, she hated Joe in Worlds Apart
from the beginning
for being smug and kind of douchey and kind of full of himself. And it's interesting that as the season progressed, we started to see this side of Joe that she saw all along, and now we kind of fall more into her camp. So
yeah,
it's kind of interesting how that works.
Yeah, there's an arrogant air that, just like Steven said, that he has about him. And same with Savage and same with Wigglesworth. And the hilarious thing is, on the Ponderosa videos, those people are always the most butthurt by whoever comes in. Like, they won't talk to them right away because they're still mad about it. And it's like, you guys are older, you should be more mature, and you're just whiny little babies. So.
I think it comes down to ego. Their egos must be pretty big, and they have a tough time accepting letting it go. Yeah. So, but that's pretty much it. That's the breakdown of what's going to happen. Who's your pick to win Survivor, Catie?
I'm going to go with that. The women are going to keep dominating the All-Star seasons, and I'm going to pick Kelly Wentworth.
Bam.
Is that your pick too?
That was my pick. I picked Kelly Wentworth.
All right. Well, we'll see. I'd be totally fine with Jeremy winning, but it's I feel like Kelly's played a game with more adversity, and so her story is a little more compelling. That's it.
Yeah. I think it really, that tier thing we mentioned really holds up. That's where it's at. The guys that should win are Jeremy and Kelly. I'd be okay with Spencer and Tasha, and Keith and Kimmy aren't that satisfying as winners, but even if those two win, it'd be hilarious.
It's nice. It's nice for them because they're good people. So
yeah, they're good people. So this is, we're gonna have a satisfying winner, and we can be happy about that. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. If you stuck around for this whole long video, good for you. That's amazing.
Now, are we gonna do a post-finale podcast?
I would like to. We're going to try to do that. I am on a break from school for the winter break or whatever you call it, so I should have plenty of time to do some podcasting. So we will do a post-finale wrap-up, and it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll see you guys when we do that. All right.
Alrighty.
Bye, everybody.
Night.